So in 2014, we started to work with the government of Albania on some economic growth issues. And one of the problems that the government had at the time was that one of its industries, which it calls the façon sector, which is mostly making shoes and making garments, was not growing at the rate that they wanted it to grow. And the key thing there was that it was a sector for which they were highly dependent on exports and on job creation. And it just wasn't giving them the kind of exports and job creation they were looking for. So we started working with a team like we always do, and we called it the Black Belt team, and the head of the team was called Bashkim. And this team went out to businesses and asked them, what's wrong? Why aren't you exporting as much as we want you to export? And they came back with a list of between 30 and 50 different problems that businesses had raised. And when they went through these problems, the team, which is mostly in the Ministry of Economy, said the problem is that most of these issues are not things that we can solve by ourselves. They have to be solved with other entities across government. And this created a bit of an existential crisis because of the way that things worked in Albania. Listen to Bashkim describing the situation.
We have been trying to think even before such things, and we couldn't realize. Because between line ministries or public institutions exist a lot of walls of barriers, and how to destroy them, because we couldn't realize the communication between our partners in the different line ministries. Through this approach with the Harvard University, it was really a very easy way communicating with them. We didn't know before, because if we want to get an information from the other ministry which are interested for the benefit of the private sector, we needed to follow a very bureaucratic process, trying to realize a formal letter addressing to the relevant minister, and then from the relevant minister this letter is going to the right department in that ministry. And after having this bureaucratic process, we couldn't get information or not.
So faced with this kind of situation, we sat with the team, and as we always do in PDIA, when we hear about what a problem really looks like in reality, we would give some nudges. And we said to the team, look, if it's difficult to engage with people across all of these bureaucratic boundaries, which coincidentally you find in many countries, maybe you should try some new things. You don't have to break the rules, you don't have to do things that you're not allowed to do, but you can be creative and find some new solutions. So let's listen to a little bit of what Bashkim has to say about how they come up with new solutions in just trying, learning and adapting.
Through this new approach with the Harvard University, we tried to find the right contact points in each line ministry. And we couldn't have any more to proceed in a formal way, but just having a phone call or writing directly to them an email and communicating with them to get a certain information or exchanging information or providing data and that for the benefit of this package, and trying to contribute to increase the export capacities of this fascinating industry.
So Bashkim and his team essentially started engaging with people across Tirana, the capital city, and across Albania. And in engaging with all of these folks who were responsible for actually delivering the services that had not been delivered to help the façon industry, they managed to deal with between 30 and 40 issues in 7 months. And in that period of time, what you started to see was an increase in business confidence in the sector. You started to see businesses saying, gee, the government is actually for us, the government is working with us. You started to see within the Ministry of Economy and Bashkim's team a set of relationships emerge that they could trust across government with people who would deliver services. And essentially the problems that the sector had started to get resolved, with a whole lot of solutions that nobody knew of, nobody had pre-identified, and that really just emerged as they went along. Now, there have been real results from this, and those results happened quite quickly after we started the work, or after they started the work, and have been sustained afterwards, partly because I think the government's mechanism for doing this is one that was fairly easy to sustain. It was solving a relational coordination problem that is common across government and that actually has solutions that are more commonplace or more matter-of-fact and easier to use than people might think. Listen to some of the results.
So there are two key indicators which are very important in my mind, which is considered as a success for the implementation of this package of measures. The first one, exports year by year has been increased, and the second, the number of employed people in the fashion industry have been increased. So fashion industry, starting with the year 2013, the value of exports was 495 million euro, and at the end of 2017, this figure is 875 million euros, or the contribution of the fashion industry to the total exports in Albania. If we are referring to the first year, 2013, the contribution of fashions to the total exports was roughly 28%. And at the end of year 2017, the contribution is over 44% to the total exports. These are some basic indicators which tell a real story, this good experience and this approach in cooperation with Harvard University, and we did it and we succeed on it.